Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Zara and this is the Dwelling Space. Today's topic is basically how I became a tarot reader, I guess you could say. Okay, so I guess this is story time plus reading at the end, like a general reading. And I kind of like this new setup. So I have this space on my floor, but it's this really comfortable bed. Basically, I am recording currently from my safe space. So I hope you are also in your safe space or in as much comfort as you possibly could be right now. Yeah, so 2 years ago, during the quarantine time, I feel like the quarantine time really helped, because basically a lot of people were forced to be indoors, right? So it's forced for the first time in a long time people to be able to truly reflect on themselves, on their lives, on what is in their environment. It forced people to be more conscious, to be more aware. I mean, if you have so much time, so much free time on your hands like you've never really had before, then obviously there is nothing else for you to do except to reflect, right? When you have been called into hermit mode, when you've been called into solitude, when you've been called into building family, into building relationships, into spending time, into building a relationship with yourself. And if you're married, you have kids, you're living with your partner, into actually spending time with your partner, not just like sneaking in that little bit of time that you have, like when you get back from work or during the weekends. Except if you don't even work during the weekends. I mean, before the quarantine, how many of you really had time to stop and reflect? And I guess it's different for people in other countries than people in Nigeria. You know, it's in Nigeria, even if you are in quarantine, there is I mean, most of our parents really weren't in quarantine, if we're being honest, because we didn't experience as much COVID symptoms or as much death as in other countries. So, you know, we're a little bit chill about it. It's like, oh yeah, we're in quarantine, but hi, let's go. And for me, my parents still went to work. I mean, they spent what, a month, maybe a little less at home. Yeah, so basically that whole quarantine period I was pretty much all by myself. That was like the first time that I really got to spend time with myself. That was the first time that I really got to say, who am I, what do I want? Because then it felt like I was just following like a certain set out path for me. When I was done with school, I was going to go for my do NYSC. Maybe that is an option, not even like a compulsion. You know, maybe I was going to do NYSC and then I was going to go straight for my master's in Canada, and from there I was going to like figure out life. Maybe I was just living. You know, I would go to church every Sunday, even though I really hated going, but I knew that I really didn't have a choice in the going matter. I would I would have hobbies that I claimed to have, but I didn't even fully practice the hobbies. It's like, oh yeah, I can draw, I'm good at drawing, but I haven't drawn since like, it's like I had only one big drawing accomplishment, and that was when I was like 3, and I can't even remember the accomplishments of my drawing. You know, the accomplishments of my drawing are just things that other people told me that I did, that made me realize that okay, I have this innate skill. Like my mom would say, when I was 3, I carried this my white bunny rabbit thingy, this, yeah, it was like a teddy. and she said I kept it in front of me. I laid down in front of it and then I drew it exactly how it was. Like they came to me, they were like, what are you doing? And I said, oh, I'm just trying. And then they looked at it and they saw that it was like exactly the same thing as the teddy. Now this is something that I don't remember because I was 3, but because they were so proud of that memory, of that experience that they had with me, and they kept refueling that memory, I knew how to draw. But after that, most of my drawing skills were basically in tracing and trying to recreate that same, I guess you could say, pride that they had in me about the skill. It's like I don't know I have that skill, you know. I'm just trying to do this thing because they say I am good at it, but I don't know that. So yeah, that was basically it. And then I occasionally wrote stories, you know. There was this one I was writing when I was in SS3, and everybody was so in love with it. They were like, oh my god, come on, read this story that this girl is writing. And it was basically centered around the people in my school, in my class. So of course they were excited that, oh, here is someone writing this thing about us. Let's see how we turn out as characters. And yeah, you know, I never really went further than surface level. I got into uni. I made a couple of friends. I had one super duper close friend, a best friend that I started dating, and we broke up. I felt basically like every other female person there, and I had no concrete distinction or distinguishing between this is who I am and this is who someone else is, you know. It just felt like, now that I look back at it, I just realized how much everything felt so blurred out. Like it was just one experience. I never really lived. I was not present. I was not aware of myself before then. And then I look back and I see a huge difference in who I used to be and in who I am now. If I'm like constantly self-ruminating, I'm constantly self-therapizing, I'm constantly trying to resolve my own issues, my own flaws, my own, I guess you could say, toxic traits. It's like, am I projecting onto this person? Am I being who I say I am? Am I being authentic? Am I currently in this moment being a hypocrite? Like, I am constantly trying to make myself a better person, like literally all the freaking time. And it's a heavy weight because I know that it's not something that I can control. It's just, okay, now that I am aware of my behavior, now that I am aware of myself, now that I am aware of the things that my actions cause in the world, now that I'm really aware of my place in the world, how am I using that place? What am I doing with that place? Am I still going to keep acting like the old me, or am I going to make an active change, an active choice, bring things into manifestations and weave together life? You have seen the web of life, the thread of life, the way everything intermingles. Like, it's like this blue buzzing spider web of energy. Now, how are you going to use that knowledge? Who are you going to end up becoming? What are you going to do in life, you know? And so that's where I am right now. And it's also in the realization that even though now I see myself as bigger than I used to, my place is still minuscule. Like, you are important. Oh my freaking god, you are so freaking important. But at the same time, who are you? Just a character, just one character in the bigger game, not the main character, just one character. And it's like, it's just in the realization that the universe is paradoxical. It just, I mean, even though things get confusing, you just also kind of know that, okay, yeah, no, it's not really confusing. Like, you constantly understand both sides of the perspective. Like, yeah, this person is very toxic, I see your toxicity, but at the same time, I know that I can be toxic too sometimes when I am not conscious of my behavior, when I'm not aware of the things that I am thinking and the things that come out of my mouth, when I can't control myself, like, immediately. So I know that I also have that trait, or I could have that trait. Now, maybe the toxicity itself comes from when the other person isn't aware of their toxicity, isn't actively trying to change themselves. It's like, yeah, I am this person, I am toxic, I am mean, I don't like people, and that is how it is going to be. You know, I refuse to even see myself, I refuse to see my behavior. I am just going to keep acting out this way. Now, maybe that is where you can be angry from, that they refuse to change, they refuse to wake up. But I can't even be angry. I can't really be freaking angry. I want, like, anyway, yeah, and I guess that's on forgiveness, that you just realize that it doesn't matter. Like, it literally doesn't matter. Yeah, they've treated you like shit, they treat you like shit, but you could just walk away. You could just walk away. You don't have to deal with that, except if you are forced into the situation, but you don't have to deal with that. So yeah, anyway, it was during the quarantine period that I guess I just began to reflect more. Then I wanted to write a book. That was what I was leading up to. So in just realizing that, wow, I haven't really done anything major, I want to write a book. I've been having all these ideas popping up in my mind through school, secondary school, university, things like that, but I haven't really written a book. So I want to write a book. And then I had the idea of writing a book about witches and magicians and sages. And then I wanted, oh my god, I should definitely write that book. It's going to be awesome. Like, I'm just trying to piece together the thoughts right now. But yeah, and I wanted to discover like the actual separation. Who is a sage, who is a mage, who is a witch, you know, who is a warlock, what are the distinctions between all of them. And then I was going to fashion the book after that, and I was going to do in-depth research on, you know, on the animals, no, not the animals, or the creatures, and all of that. And then so through that research that I discovered this community, an Amino community, pagans and witches community or something like that. Yeah, I think that's the name. And it was through this community that made me realize that, okay, so these things, it's like, okay, yeah, you hear about, say you're from Nigeria, you know, you hear about money rituals, you hear about herbalists, people going mad, you hear about things like that. But before, do you actually believe that it's real? And it is in the knowledge that, okay, this thing is actually real. You know, it's not just the things I hear about, it's not just it's not just fantasies, you know, these things are actually real. Like, why do you believe in money rituals? Why are you scared if you don't innately know that these things are actually true? Why is it so much in movies? Why do they keep educating you? Why do our parents know and believe these things? Because they've seen it firsthand, right? And then it's just in the realization that, okay, not false, real. And then the question that arises is how? Where is that source of power from? Like, if you grew up in Africa, you know, you probably are in some form religious because your family is religious. So you just grew up thinking, okay, all of these things evil, no, right? But then coming from that back end and going, how? Where is your source of power? You know, allowing yourself to genuinely be curious instead of just shutting off your curiosity from fear. Allowing yourself to be curious. Where does this thing come from? Where does your power come from? What is the limit between what is real and what is false? Where does fantasy end and reality begin, if this is true? If there are things like witches and people are pagan and people venerate nature, and there is the Tao and there is Hinduism and there is Buddhism and there is and it's just in that realization, like, you piece it together and then you realize that bullshit. You've been taught bullshit. You've been conditioned to live in fear. Where is your curiosity? Where does your curiosity lie? And and then I discovered divination, and I feel like that has been my wildest ride yet. Like, imagine this constant reminder of your realization. I said with the pendulum. A pendulum is literally, you could use this tea bag, you know, as a pendulum. It's a string with a weighted object underneath, and then you ask this instrument, this tool, questions about people that you've never met before, that you probably never meet, and then it gives you the right answers. And to have other people in other parts of the world confirming your reality, that yeah, okay, that actually did happen, that does happen. It's life now. It's just life. Okay, yeah, I know that. I know. You know, it's not just wild belief. It's just reality through experience. And then I went into the tarot. Like, I used to use apps on my phone, and then I decided that I just couldn't do it, and so I spent like 2 weeks doing the quarantine to creating my own deck. And because I spent so much time creating this deck, it feels like it has a life on its own. It's like a full-on tarot deck. This is my death card, and the Emperor, and Judgment. I love the Judgment card. Judgment. And then the High Priestess. And then there is Strength. And then there is the Lovers. Literally, this screams balance. It's like, I feel like then there is the Page of Wands, and then there is the devil and VIII of wands. Like I suck at Roman numerals, so I have to kind of count it in my head first. Yeah, and then I started doing tarot. I give out free readings. It's like I wouldn't charge money for it. I would charge money for it. I am charging money for it, but at the same time, I don't really care too much about the material things that I can gain from something. It's just I am glad I could help. Like, I know I am right. I have, except from when I first started, when I had, like, even then, it's just I know I am right. I know I am right. The readings I've given to friends, you know, the readings I've given to people, the readings I've given to a client, I know I am right. So yeah, anyway, I started giving readings and have been right ever since then. So if you want to get a reading, you can come and meet me. By the way, yeah, so that is story, and it's a wild story, right? But even sometimes in my reality, I have a hard time believing it. You know, sometimes I space out so much, and then I kind of disassociate a little bit, and I go, "Ah, who am I? Who am I?" Like every other human being. And yeah, that is what is happening. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So I pulled out 3 cards, and then there is the IX of Swords, Death, and the Two of Pentacles. Pentacles. I don't know why I just said Pentacles. Pentacles. So basically, the IX of Swords was in the middle, and then the it came out with the Death card, and then the Two of Pentacles came out first. And the message basically is that, you know, you're probably having fears and anxiety, worry currently, when because there is some change that is currently happening in your life. There is, I mean, I feel like the energy is everywhere, really. There is this energy, this feeling of big change that is building up a little bit. It's like expansion, and you're going to be held accountable for your action or no action in bringing about the reality or desired reality that you want. You know, it's, are you actually putting in the work? You want a reality, you know, all the cards are placed there, you have all the pieces of the puzzle, you know, you have all your chess pieces. Now, how are you moving forward? Do you think the universe is giving you this opportunity? Here is the card, you know, here is play this move and get to that move and get to that move, and then you get to that reality. But are you actually letting that fear, that worry, that anxiety that you have, are you letting that stop you? Are you letting that repress you? Are you self-destructing in some ways? What do you call it? Are you self-sabotaging? Sabotage. I think that is the right pronunciation. Yeah, are you self-sabotaging? Right. Or are you actually putting in the work? Are you doing your own part? It's not enough to say I trust God. Just whatever happens, right? I don't know how it's going to happen, but I trust that it's going to happen. I trust the universe. I trust divine. I trust source. However you want to think or feel God as. Are you putting in the work? Are you taking the steps necessary? You know, you have to be adaptable. You have to, yeah, there are a lot of, you've placed a lot of seeds, you've planted a lot of seeds, you've planted a whole lot of seeds, a whole lot of seeds, but how can you be flexible with those things? How can you balance each and every one of those things without getting burnt out? Okay, I am currently learning how to draw. I'm trying to update my writing skills. I'm trying to make the tarot reading a professional business. I sell scented candles. I write for a magazine. I'm trying to take a writing workshop. I am currently studying a bachelor's. I'm currently trying to get a bachelor's in metaphysics. A bachelor's in metaphysics. I'm so happy. Like, it's an actual bachelor's degree. Yeah. So all of these things are happening and playing out. And I guess based on the perspective of productivity, it doesn't feel like enough because I'm also having a lot of rest. It's like here is a period where you probably have a lot of things going on too, even though you might not feel like it's a lot because you currently are able to to easily balance, multitask, play. But it's also really like it's very important for you to be able to do that, to balance, to not get burnt out, to not get stressed out. Take on too much and you definitely get stressed out. So where is your limit? Do you feel like you have space for one more thing to be your main focus of energy, and then you have all these things playing and dancing in the background? Or do you feel like you need more rest, more time to just, I will be fine? So that's the energy of, I can't remember exactly what I said, but I know I said a lot of things. I'm probably going to have to play this back. But anyway, that's that for today. Thank you for tuning back in to another episode of The Dwelling Space. My name is Zara. I think I said that in the beginning.